So hello and welcome back to another epic segment on the Black Suit Tonight Africa Rising channel. Today we have a very special episode for you, and please stay tuned. You wouldn't believe who we had on our segment for an interview. Mr. Adesina Dipo, a co-founder and CEO of Rwanda's GURARIDE. Yes, remember in that episode where we told you about Rwanda's new electric bikes. Yes, I mean e-bikes in Rwanda. Yes, we had one of the co-founders and CEO of the company, who happens to be, the brother of the main brain behind the whole issue. In fact, he has a nickname, the brand man, but I call him young, rich, and humble. In fact, we need people like this. You can't be this rich and be this humble. All right, so we had him on our segment, and you know, every interview actually has to start from, well, where were you born? Where did you go to school? What did you eat when you were young? Did you like your mother and father? No, we don't want to bore you with all that. We are dealing with time here. We want to give you the creamy part of what went down in our discussion. In fact, we wanted to know, how is this helping the people of Rwanda? How, in fact, they were able to get into the Rwandan market? Are they willing to expand? How are they even funding this whole project? And what is the next step for the continent of Africa and the should I say group of companies? Because they have GURARIDE, SafiRide, or SafiDrive. I don't know what it's all about, but I think it's a mini bus, electric logistic company system or something that is, helping with distribution of logistics. That is the Safi. And AgroAngels, which is transforming Rwanda's agriculture. Man, the local farmers are, in heaven right now with AgroAngels. They are indeed angels helping Rwanda. How is all this starting? What role has the Rwanda government, Paul Kagame, also played in all that? So we started with our conversation with Mr. Adesina Dipo, who is a former Morgan State University graduate, an MBA holder, a business consultant, a public speaker, and author of many books, relating to how to be rich. So people, Africans, the African youth who are looking for, the simplest way, the smartest way to be rich, not illegal. You have to work smart, don't work so hard, man. If people who were working like, really, really hard were the ones that were benefiting, headquarters will be millionaires by now. So, man, people, we are just going to dive right into the conversation. And stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right, so people, we are right back with our conversation with the serial business entrepreneur whose, main vision, he has lived in the state. He had every reason, to enjoy heaven in the state, but he decided to come back to Rwanda. So our first conversation was actually, why Rwanda? Why did they choose to come to Rwanda? What role has actually the government actually played? Paul Kagame's government played in, drawing back the Rwandan diaspora into Rwanda to start all these business setups. And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, Ben, I think the most important aspect is the infrastructures that they have in place to welcome foreign investors and entrepreneurs. The biggest challenge in doing business in Africa is really the infrastructure. Right. So Rwanda, they've been able to build a brand where it gives investors the peace of mind to come and do business. So we saw that for the type of business we're trying to do. We saw that the government was very supportive of, what we're trying to do well. And, you can't do business in any country if the government is not supporting what you're doing. Yeah. So those are some of the factors that played a key role in us coming to Rwanda and establishing our businesses here.
Well, so people, there you have it. Rwanda's Paul Kagame has made sure infrastructure wouldn't be a problem, and that's the main thing that dragged them there. So if you're an African country who is seeking to draw investors, infrastructure is something you don't have to play with. Yes, let's go into it. We also had to ask him, how are they actually funding this project? And he gave this short answer as follows.
From friends and family, but more importantly, the money that we personally have to put into it, because it's our baby, right? It's our company, we in it, so we sacrifice to get it done.
Wow. So there you have it. They had to put the money together. Actually, there were just 4 people who had to come together to put the money together to have all this. There were 4, he and his brother and 2 friends, they came together from the diaspora, put money together. So I think it behooves us as people in diaspora. We don't have to do it alone. I think one thing that is really, worrying Africans is that we want to start things on our own and sort of have the bona fide property. You don't have to do that. Find friends, I mean, put it together, get one big thing moving, and before you realize, you have a group of companies. So we actually had to ask him, yes, what they would do if other African countries, I mean, set up their infrastructure to, I mean, let them come in. What was their thought? Or are they now willing to just focus on one country for now and build it up before they start looking elsewhere? This is what he had to say also.
Oh, we're all about expansion, man. You know, so, I mean, we're actually in talks right now with different, you know, reps in different countries to kind of, you know, I guess, build a franchise or replicate what we're doing in Rwanda. So as long as, you know, the opportunity or the partnership sounds right, there is, of course, it's capital intensive. So it has to make sense for us, for them to be able to do that. We're all about expansion and, you know, expanding what we're doing to different parts of Africa, not just limiting it to Rwanda.
Wow. All right, so there you have it. They are actually looking for partnership from other countries, but first and foremost, government support and infrastructure. So we went on with our next question, asking him about what he thinks about Chinese investment in Africa. Yes, I mean, people say Africa don't need the West and all that. Yes, we don't need them, but we need investment. If the West is not giving it, we probably have to go to the Chinese. My take is that we need the diaspora. If you remember, somewhere about 30 years ago when China was beginning to open up, they had to deal with their diaspora. People come in with investment, with technology, with money and everything. That is how China began to open up and to, I mean, start their, I mean, controlled capitalism, I would say. Now, what does he actually think about Africa? Do we actually need a Chinese? Yeah, a lot of people say, yes, we need a Chinese investment. Do we need it? Or Africans can do it? Do we need a diaspora? Or people on the continent can do it? This is what he had to say.
Yeah, I believe in a school of thought that those in Africa can make a difference. And you know, to a greater part, you really don't need foreign aid. You know, Africa has so many massive natural resources that's unbelievable. If we learn to package and use what we have wisely, there's no reason to be asking for funds from foreign aids, right? Or seeking foreign investment. Because we can easily sell what we have at premium to overseas and at the same time be able to sustain the continent of Africa.
That's right.
The issue that we have, Ben, is that we have a lot of leaders that don't have the best interests of Africa at heart, which is what's causing the chaos we're seeing today. But do we need Africans in diaspora? Absolutely. You know, Africans in diaspora, they are Africans before anything. Therefore, like myself, to only, you know, by God's grace to, you know, travel overseas. That doesn't make you an American. It doesn't make you European. It just makes you an African that lives overseas. So I think it's part of your fiduciary responsibility to, at some point, think about what you can do to add value to your people. You know, and I believe it's people like myself, people like you, who are bringing, you know, highlight to Africa that will start to draw in these people. And listen, if we all decide to start adding our 2 cents to Africa, trust me, that we know today will be different from the Africa we see tomorrow, right? But it all depends on you and I, you know, doing our thing and more people like us coming in.
So that is what this whole theme for this Black Week Tonight Africa Rising has just been about. Just try to, I mean, people on the continent can do it, yeah, just as he said, but we also need diaspora. People team up. Some of these roads that are, I mean, filled with potholes, inaccessible and all that, man, we can fix it if you want to. Now, I know Egypt is building, I mean, a highway straight from Cairo to, I mean, Joburg in South Africa, which is going to pass through the eastern corridors. We can get a similar one through the West and through the Central Africa, and we connect the whole Africa together. But this can be achieved not just by African government, by people in the diaspora. Now, speaking about a highway, we bring that to you in our next segment. But this one, I think this man has just spoken really things out of my heart. Now, bringing the discussion a little bit back away from the GURARIDE and their company. I know he personally is interested in cryptocurrency. Now that's been a sensation right now. People say if Africans, how smart we are, if we could get internet access, I mean, internet accessible to most African countries, the African youth will be able to use cryptocurrency to transform Africa. What does he think as a crypto expert on that situation, crypto and Africa? Let's take a lesson to an Africa.
Cryptocurrency is the future, right? You're talking about blockchain technology, you're talking about innovation, you're talking about even transformation in the way we do things, right? At the end of the day, cryptocurrency is nothing other than digital currency, right? That's a definition of cryptocurrency. Yeah. Now, you now have different cryptocurrency projects that focuses on different aspects of, on different sectors. Yeah. But I think most African countries are still not familiar with what crypto is and how it can really help in taking us to the next level. But I do believe that as time continues to go on, we'll start to see the massive adoption, not just in Africa, but globally, of cryptocurrency. So what I do is that I bring awareness to people to let them, number one, it's a form of an investment. It's an asset in itself, just the same way you have real estate. So it's all about getting people to understand what it's about and how they can participate in it.
Wonderful. So there you have it. It's just a matter of letting Africans understand what it is. It's an asset. I mean, I have friends who have been trading in crypto and they have built wealth and even mansions with that. I think we just have to deliberately, with a deliberate effort to train the African minds and tell them what this is about. It's not a scam. It's a smart way to build a portfolio. Thank you very much. Now, so we actually went on, yes. I know you've been listening and you're enjoying. We actually went ahead to ask. There's two school of thoughts here once more. Two school of thought that one believe that Africa is actually the future. Africa is not now. Africa is the future, let's say 50 years to come. In fact, the AU had in fact, if you look at their African Development Agenda, they are saying 2063. That's like, I mean, somewhere, some 40 years away. I don't even know what they were thinking. But let's see what he had to say. Is Africa the future or is Africa now?
I think Africa is the future in the sense that, life is in phases, right? Yeah. Africa is still in its probably like mid phase. We still have a lot to do, a lot to improve on, to really get it to a place where you're attracting, where you're competing on a global scale. Yeah. China, in the 70s was nothing to write home about, right? You couldn't say back then that China was the future. Yeah. But with what we see today, you and I can't dispute that if you want to do business, you better know somebody, or you better know, have some kind of resource in China. Yeah. So now let's think, right, in the future, it will be a situation whereby the conversation will be, if you want to do business, you better know somebody in Africa, right? You better know somebody in Rwanda, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, because now we've built a global, not a global brand, but a brand as a continent where people now realize that you can't do business unless you are in Africa. Like, you can't grow your business, right? Because you're talking about the population, you're talking about the natural resources, the wealth, you're talking about the knowledge, intellectual knowledge. We are some brilliant peoples. I think you would agree, that anywhere Africans go, we thrive. We try. It's gene, that's what we do. So I think Africa is the future. We still have a long way to go, but like I said, you and I doing our thing, more people doing their thing, will bring the spotlight on Africa.
So people, we are still speaking to the co-founder and CEO of the GURARIDE. Yes, in that segment that we brought to you, Mr. Adesina Dipo, former Morgan State University graduate, a business consultant, an entrepreneur. Yes, and an author of many books that will make you rich. In fact, he has a YouTube channel. You can subscribe as you subscribe to this channel, BWT-Africa Rising. We bring you discussions like this and other segments that promote the continent of Africa. Now, after speaking about this, we went ahead, yes, to ask him. So we sort of wanted to know that does he even rest? Does he even rest? With all these companies that are going on, we have SafiRide, AgroAngels, GURARIDE, and even others that we didn't even have time to talk about. How are they managing all these? How is his daily schedule looking like? Watch out.
Yeah, of course, you rest at night, right? That's what night is created for. I think the beauty of what we do is that having team of people in different companies that can execute. No matter how good you think you are, if you don't have a team, number one, and more importantly, the right people on your team, then suffer. So all of our businesses have core people that are able to kind of lead those businesses without us having to fully hands-on all the time, right? That's what it's all about. I don't know everything. My expertise is in one particular area. My brother, my partners, and then our staff as well. So we allow everybody to function in the area of expertise, which reduces the pressure on us, as we continue to expand and grow the businesses.
Wow. So there you have it, Mr. Adesina Dipo. Now we went ahead, to ask him in terms of employment. I mean, their businesses are helping Rwandan students. I mean, in terms of moving around and all that. But one of the major problems or challenges the continent of Africa is battling with is unemployment of the youth. How is all these things helping with employment? And I mean, literally the standard of living of Rwandese. This is what he had to say, even especially when it came to the employment.
It's a bit difficult to quantify because, like I said, we have multiple businesses, and then we have our we call them our runners who actually do the delivery for logistics. We have our corporate staff, which is about, I think, 11 or 12. That's just corporate, wise. Then we have our trainers who actually train, the drivers that we bring on board. So it's quite steep. It's quite steep. More importantly, so far with our training program, we've trained about 900 people, male and females, when it comes to mobility. So now we're talking about 900 people that are employable, not only by our company as we expand, but anyone who's into e-mobility, you can easily talk to them and they're good to go, ready to work and make things happen.
Right. Wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Mr. Adesina Dipo. We went ahead to ask him about his final words to the people on the continent of Africa, and especially the diaspora. This is what he had to say.
Well, I think for those who are in the diaspora, definitely start thinking about coming home. Think about how you can invest to impact the continent. The beauty of what we're doing is that each of our projects, we have the opportunity for people to actually invest and partner with us. Not for long term, but for a duration of time where they're still able to, make an impact and at the same time be profitable. Or either, outside of that, there's so many opportunities out here that literally you cannot afford not to seize these opportunities. If not, we'll continue to allow the foreigners to come in, which is great. I don't have anything against that, but you don't want a situation where foreigners are the ones dominating your continent because you're running out and they're running in, right? And for those who are in Africa, think. That's the biggest thing. Think. Many people think there aren't any opportunities. Many people think that the grass is greener on the outside. And I can tell you, it's greener for some people, but for a lot of people, it's not. So where you are right now, start thinking about what you can do to add value to Africa. And as you do that, the money that you've been looking for will come with ease, right? Most people are pursuing money, but the more you pursue money, the more money runs. But when you idea and you implement the ideas, their money's chasing you. So it's the name of the game. So Africa's a diaspora. Start investing back home. Those who are back home, start putting out ideas, implement them, and let's make Africa great.
Let's make Africa great. That is the words, or the final words from Mr. Adesina Dipo, co-founder of GURARIDE. Yes, this was a conversation that was fully packed, and I know you listening in the diaspora, my target is you. Do you want to wake up 6 a.m.? 9 to 5, and that's the term for it. Even those in diaspora, you wake up at 5 a.m. Man, it's 5 to 5, and do you want to die in the snow? Home is calling you, man. Let's go back home. Whatever you have, just brainstorm something, come out with partners, let's move back, change the narrative about the continent. You might target roads, I might target schools. Let's build infrastructure, and investment will flow in by default. Like he said, we don't have to chase money. Money is already made, man. You have to find a way to, position yourself so that you will attract the money. We have been talking to Mr. Adesina Dipo. Thank you very much, Mr. Adesina Dipo, and all our listeners, ladies and gentlemen. That is the founder and CEO of GURARIDE in Rwanda. My name is Bekri Bernard Woma, and this has been a typical episode on Africa Rising and Black Excellence. You're going to see me, or I'm going to see you, in my next episode, where we talk about Egypt and the ambitious highway from Cairo to Johannesburg. See you when I see you in my next episode. But don't forget to subscribe and comment and like this video.